What you need to understand is that the methodological substrate of my anger is going to destroy everything. I am the avatar of the free market. I am here to destroy worlds. I am here to consume deities and corporations for being woke. We're going to look at some fan art, and then we're going to look at some Twitter cringe. Actually, a lot of Twitter cringe. Like kind of a decent bit of Twitter cringe. But first, oh geez, this is not what I wanted to have up. I need to pull up the fan art. There you are. Boop. I thought I had the fan art up already, but apparently I lied to myself and subsequently all of you. Imagine me being a terrible person like that. Imagine. Anyways. Bah. First piece of fan art we have here is from Ivana Dragmeyer. The quote that they put up for this one, "You can't afford the..." I'm not going to say that word, but it begins with "you" and ends with "fucking regret." You should have thought about that before you became peasants. Growlithe, come on. Come on, stop it, girl. Apparently she doesn't like that voice. Apparently. The next one we have is from Lily.Aaron. Felt inspired to do a Sonic-style Suris. I kind of feel like the Sonic Underground theme should play whenever you see something like this. Of course, they've... No, Growly, stop. Jeebus. And the next one we have here is from Wah. Said Suris. Suris as Sias from Breath of Fire 5. Unfortunately, due to Sias's design, they couldn't incorporate Booba. Well, as always, POV Rule 63 Nekosaurus is using his Shining Blade skill on you for making him say "ara ara." I feel like there should be like a cut in the paper then. You know, the stereotypical anime, like the slice in your vision and then just like red starts pouring through it. I think that would be perfect there. As always, everybody, thank you very much for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future episode, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's go ahead and get in. We're going to start out. Ashio has dropped an Ara Ara Armistice. Okay, so for the next hour, any redeems people that put in that normally make me say anything are forced to be Ara Aras instead. As an example, Kenrasa Bloodstone, thank you for redeeming your points for an Ara Ara. You tried to make it an OWO, but you failed. And Nakibre, thank you very much for an Ara Ara as well. All right. So we're going to begin with Candace Owens, because of course we are. We have to start with the brain hurt, everybody. If we're going to riff on Viced Rhino's tweets, if we're going to copy that style of video wholesale, we might as well do it right and begin with good old Candace. Thank you, Phantom Rem, for the hydrate. This is what she says on hers. Now for some light-hearted fun. What's one conspiracy theory that no matter what anyone says, you believe is true? Mine is that the moon landing in 1969 was completely faked. Just nothing about it makes sense, especially NASA accidentally erasing the original footage. All right, so let's go ahead and point out that we live in a time now where it is easy to copy footage. It is notoriously easy to have thousands of copies of any piece of footage that you could ever have. But that is not something that was as easy to do back then. So looking at the past with the expectations of the tech we have right now, And yeah, Bragwin points out, this is a take coming from somebody who apparently has never had their parents accidentally tape over their favorite show on VHS. And she points out here, the biggest thing for me is the fuel tank size plus the live broadcast with audio from the moon. In 1969, I just cannot. So, can we talk about that broadcast? You can have a live broadcast from a very far amount of area away. We had satellites that broadcasted television and radio around this time. Like, we had technology that could do this. The thing that you would worry about here would be latency. Also, as per usual with things like this, it's probably good to note that the technology available to the civilian is always going to be several years behind the technology available to the United States government. General Tank also points out that space has no fraction. So, I actually do not know what that has to do with this, but that feels like that matters. I'm not an expert here. But we also need to point out that around the time that this happened, it was not very easy to do things like fake what the moon landing was. Also, let's just go ahead and point out that around the time that this happened, it may be important, Candace, to note. I know that nothing I say will change your mind, but if you are the nationalist that I think you are, then maybe this bit of information would be enlightening to you. We were in the middle of a competition in the Cold War with Russia, and as a result, they had every ability to call us out on our bullshit if we actually did fake the landing. In fact, they had incentive to, and they didn't. Moreover, and here's another very interesting bit, we actually put panels up there that we could bounce a laser off of as verification that we were there. You can use a powerful enough telescope right now, and you can actually see the shit that we left there, especially those panels. That stuff you can do right now. So I don't know what's worse. The fact that Candace tweeted this, or the fact that she somehow got 17,000 likes for this. My question to you, Candace, is who placed the lander, the reflector, and the flag on the moon? The things that, again, are visible with a fucking telescope. These are things you can look at right now. How did they get there? Would you just not believe the things that your eyes saw? Is that just a thing you wouldn't do? I'm sorry, Candace. It's reasons like this, it's tweets like this that make me not actually care too terribly much about your opinion on things. I'm sorry. I know that I can't judge every other belief that Candace has based on this, but I feel in my heart of hearts that this is a wonderful litmus test. If somebody doesn't believe the moon landing happened, despite the ability to literally look at evidence of it with their own eyes, with currently available technology, I feel like that's a good enough argument to not care anymore. Now, we have another one, because we're going to move from Candace Owens to Tim Pool. Tim Pool here decided that he wanted to go ahead and quote, "Somebody I know is triple vaxxed and just got COVID. What the fuck is the point to the vaccine?" So first of all, what the fuck do you mean by triple vaxxed? Do you mean they got Pfizer and Moderna and like... Do you mean that they grabbed all the different brands of the vaccine, or do you mean that they grabbed a double-dose vaccine and a booster? Which one is it? Because realistically, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one of those we say. All that matters is that we point out that the information you're saying is awkward, to say the least. So let's talk about what a vaccine does, at least what the COVID vaccine does. It can help stop you from getting COVID. It can do that, but it does it as a matter of a percentage. There's this awkward thing that conservatives, or Tim Pool calls himself a liberal, we'll go ahead and go with that, I guess, maybe, potentially. But there's this awkward thing that these people tend to do, and that is they think exclusively in binaries. Either the vaccine means you're protected on superhuman levels, or it means that it's completely fucking worthless. There is no in between. There is no fact that the vaccination can mitigate the symptoms of the virus. There is no thought to the fact that the vaccine can actually lower the chances of spreading the virus, in part due to the fact that it's lowering the symptoms. And what are the symptoms? It's an upper respiratory illness. You do the math on that one. I'm sorry, maybe it's just me, but an ounce of research into how the COVID vaccine works would show you that, no, Tim, we don't expect the vaccine to 100% protect us at all costs. That's why there are people who are vaccinated that still choose to wear masks, and there's nothing wrong with that decision, especially because they still might spread it if they're incubating. There's no way of knowing. This, again, seems like a very obvious thing. This seems like something that shouldn't take a whole lot of brain power to understand, and yet Tim, who talks about stuff like this for a living on the internet, it just didn't do that. Now, there's one or two reasons why Tim wouldn't do this. Reason A is that he's just that dumb. I don't believe that that's the case here, so I would say reason B is probably more likely. He has an audience that is more likely to respond to the way he says things, and as a result, when he says things in a way that that audience is more likely to respond positively to, it is more likely he will both retain his audience and potentially gain new people from that particular side of the political aisle. The shorthand for that is called a grift, but, you know. Anyways, but we're not stopping at Tim Pool. We're not stopping at vaccines. We need to move on to the Pope next. We have a tweet here from Pope Francis himself, verified user and all. All human suffering is sacred to God. Before God, we are not strangers or numbers. We are faces and hearts known one by name. Pope Francis, this is not the tweet you think it is. I understand that there is this awkward proclivity in a lot of Catholic faiths to be, what's that word here? A little fetishistic with the idea of suffering. This was a thing that Mother Teresa actually got a lot of criticism from Christopher Hitchens for. Please understand that when you tell me that the God of the universe, the God of the cosmos, not only knows my name, but my suffering is important to him. Not me as a person is important to him. No, my suffering is something that is desperately needed by him in any way, shape, or form. Forgive me if I'm a little trepidatious about believing in the efficacy of your faith, your words, and even your deity at this point. You don't say that, oh, wow, your parent thinks that the terrible things you're going through are actually really good. Like, no. Not only does nobody want to hear that, but it's not useful for anybody to hear that. That doesn't bring people into your faith. That just makes people from the outside look at your faith and go, wow, what a fucking joke. Speaking of fucking jokes, we then move on to Benny here. Ben Schettler, or Schettler. I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, but Benny Boy here says, we have to do the Tristan Taylor Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged voice. If men can identify as women, why can't unvaccinated people identify as vaccinated? Well, it's very simple. Much like with any organization that you join, you can't identify as a member of the organization without being recognized by the organization. You cannot identify as vaccinated if you have not received a vaccine. Why can't you identify that way? Because the parameters for being vaccinated are my body contains the vaccine, whereas the parameters where gender are concerned is a lot more wishy-washy. What is a woman? Somebody who identifies as a woman. Or if you're one of the people from the Matt Walsh video saying you can't use a word in the definition of a word, okay. Somebody who identifies more with the feminine side of the bimodal distribution of gendered traits. There. If that is at least better, then cool. But based on that definition, or based on definitions like that, you can identify as a woman if you identify more with those feminine aspects, with those things that society has constructed as more feminine for you. If you experience euphoria that way, or you experience dysphoria in the other direction, doesn't necessarily matter here. What matters is where you identify on that scale. And if you want to argue that it's socially constructed, therefore it's not real, therefore it doesn't matter, then please, I want you to keep that same energy whenever you talk about money, an equally socially constructed concept. What isn't a socially constructed concept, though, is vaccination. We know what it means to be vaccinated. It means that you have the vaccine in your body. That's it. So I guess the real reason here, Ben, is you don't fucking understand words. Nakibri, thank you very much for the 45 bits. Just try to walk into a kingdom hall or a temple in Salt Lake without credentials. Yeah, I gotta do it. But that is not all we have here. We have a little more. We have a Twitter account called ShoutsOfTruth, so I expect to see some hard-hitting truth here from King Clyde. It reads, "You need to kill the boy." Oh god, we're beginning with child murder now? That's awkward. "You need to kill the boy. No more video games. No more little Japanese cartoons." Oh boy, he's gonna feel real awkward with a VTuber responding to this. Laura Does Art, thank you so much for gifting out 2 tier 1 subs. "No more fantasy football.
Dungeons and Dragons for jocks. No more large group of men goofing around in dorms and studio apartments. No more full send and that's litty. No more beer pong. No more Drake.
Okay, so let's one by one. We have to. You need to kill the boy. While it reads like child murder, it actually is talking about you need to kill the child inside you, because apparently there is some merit in doing so. Now, will King Clyde demonstrate that merit in this tweet? Fuck if I know. More than likely not. We go forward in the tweet, no more video games, no more little Japanese cartoons. So when we talk about Japanese cartoons, we're of course talking about anime. So I guess we're going to go ahead and pull up my handy dandy is anime for children folder. Well, actually, let me go ahead and make sure that I still even have that folder. I might not anymore, all things considered. I do still technically have my anime is for children folder. So I don't know. I guess we just don't need any kids cartoons for, and trigger warning for anybody who has never seen Uzumaki. Yep, definitely. Little kids cartoons. Anime and manga, bad. Get rid of them. Nope, they're all for children. I guess this next one we need to do a trigger warning for people with tryptophobia, fear of holes. I believe that's what it's called. I could be wrong here, but just in case, you know, again, for children. Definitely for kids. This is, you consumed this as a child, most definitely, and this was suitable for your age group as a child, and you should definitely not, have I demonstrated the point yet? Has that happened yet? Are we here? Let's talk about things like Attack on Titan and Evangelion. Let's talk about Uzumaki. Let's talk about really a good chunk of anime that is not intended for consumption by minors, children, or even early teens of any kind. Yes, Boku no Pico, definitely 110% wholesome, childlike things for children to consume. Yes, definitely. La Blue Girl as well, definitely there for your children's consumption. In fact, actually, if we need to go to church, perhaps I should pull out my Bible Black, if you know what I'm talking about. So, Kill la Kill as well. Yeah, little Japanese cartoons, definitely only for children. Only for children. Video games as well. I just don't know. I don't know what to say to people who don't think that adults should have the ability or adults should have the prerogative to play video games. I am an adult. How I choose to spend my time is my business. In fact, it would be more childlike for me to see you as an authority figure and as a result, kowtow to the things you're saying because you are viewed as somebody superior to me in either intellect, stature, or social standing. That would be the childlike thing for me to do here, King Clyde. And we can go further down. No fantasy football. I don't give a shit. Nobody should give a shit. It doesn't take you that much time to build a fantasy football team anyway. You're literally building it at the beginning of the season and then hoping to God the games go in your favor. No more large group of men goofing off. If we want to goof off, we're going to. I'm sorry. Feck off. And then this one is just no full send, no that's litty. You're literally just arguing against slang. The correct response to anybody arguing against the usage of slang for younger generations is just, okay, boomer. I understand that at some point there's going to be some new slang term that I don't like, and then I'm going to be the boomer in that situation. I get it. I understand the trap I've set for myself. I don't care. It's a dumb thing to say. We're not done yet. We have one more tweet. And it's from everybody's favorite Kermit the Frog.
Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, the free market will have its revenge on all forced woke narratives.
I'm sorry, I have to say it actually. The free market will have its revenge on all forced woke narratives. What forced woke narrative are we talking about today? There's been other names, Henry Cavill, Tom Hardy, but it seems like Idris is the one that's shining through. Entertainment reporter Stephanie Taki on Idris Elba being part of the conversation to replace Daniel Craig as James Bond. So, hold on. For one, let me go ahead and say that Idris Elba becoming James Bond, I don't care. I don't care enough about James Bond as a character for it to affect me. I really don't care. But I'm not gonna lie. Idris Elba being James Bond, I don't hate it. I don't hate that idea. And honestly, one of the main reasons that I don't hate it is right here, because while this movie doesn't exist yet, this is probably one of the best performances from Idris ever. And it's only been in a preview so far. And we'll just...
Face it, you're never going to get my power.
We're gonna get copyright hit for this.
Do I look like I need your power?
I'm sorry, I understand that the movie isn't out yet and I don't know what his performance is going to look like in the end. But you know what? If he can bring that energy to a James Bond performance, I'm all in. I am 100% for it. There's nothing about James Bond as a character that prevents him from being black. There is not an aspect of his character that is so tied to his race other than his nationality, other than his working for the throne. That's it. He works for the royals. He works for the government. That's your defining characteristic. There's nothing about that says that he can't be any nationality that would typically live in England. But you know, I guess we just can get mad about that. Remember when people got mad about a black Spider-Man? Remember that? This seems like Jordan Peterson in his old age, losing touch with things and picking fights with shit that doesn't really matter. There's nothing woke about having a different actor who just so happens to be a different race take on the role of James Bond. In fact, I would say that the person who's caring most about race here at the moment is you, Dr. Peterson. Well, anyways, yeah, no, the responses here all, this isn't wokeness though. What's woke about Elba being Bond? A black British guy? Is that the woke part? Can't keep up with all these make-believe issues. I thought you guys were mad about M&Ms right now. Seriously. A black British dude. What? That's a thing that exists. The free market will have its revenge on all forced woke narratives. What you need to understand is that the methodological substrate of my anger is going to destroy everything. I am the avatar of the free market. I am here to destroy worlds. I am here to consume deities and corporations for being woke. Lisa Dave Abbott, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an ada, you fucking monster. Also, yeah, this does reek of great replacement shit. Oh no, they replaced the white person with a black one. I somehow give a fuck about this. Jesus. That's all I've got where freaking Twitter cringe is concerned. I'm sure that there's more we will find always, but that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't know, let me know what your thoughts are with stuff like that, and should I do more segments like this where I just blatantly rip off Vice Rhino's tweet segments? I hosted the show once, and I guest hosted it once, and now I'm stealing it like an absolute monster. But it's okay, because I'm a leftist. So it's not theft, actually. You see, you said it was your show, but I responded that it was our show. I'm kidding. Anyway, as always, everybody, thank you all for watching. If you want to support the channel and what I do, there's plenty of ways to do so in the description down below. If you have not already hopped over on Patreon, please consider doing so. That's where I do a ton of, 4 videos a month, usually, of behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on in real life, as opposed to just here on the channel. If you have not yet hit the like button already, please do so. If you have been here for a while and you haven't subscribed, maybe consider doing that by now. Also, follow over on Twitch if you haven't already. Last thing, I sincerely hope that all of you have been having a wonderful day. And if you haven't, maybe consider letting me shill one last time, going into the description, going to cuddlyoctopus.com/product/Suris, and picking up yourself a lovely, lovely pillow. Though, I need not know what you are going to do with it, and I need not know any information past that. If you say you've purchased it, I will simply nod my head and say thank you, and that will be the end of that exchange. Anyways, as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.